Hello, everybody. Hi, so today I'm going to review an interface for ChatGPT called Redoc. And Redoc is another interface that allows the user to upload a PDF and then to chat specifically with that PDF, right? And the reason that that's useful for academic or scholarly use, for research, is because it limits your questions, your prompts, your queries to one specific document, right? So you can control where the questions or the prompts are, where they're being directed, right? So I'll share my screen. So you can see here, this is the landing page for Redoc. If you just Googled Redoc, it's the address is Redoc, Redoc.AI. So the suffix is AI, Redoc.AI. And here it says you can chat with your documents. There's different features. I'll just scroll down on the main landing page. It tells you can chat with some demo docs that it has. It's saying what you can do is you can upload a document, you can chat, you can search, and you can sift through all of these documents with ease. And that is actually one of the reasons I'm excited to review this, because my understanding is that Redoc allows you to upload multiple documents and then search or prompt or query multiple documents as opposed to just one. That's very useful because, for example, you might want to compare or contrast two separate documents, like for research, right? That's very common. So here it says in the landing page, you can upload your docs, you can tag your docs. So it does have some features for filing and for organizing your documents, and then chatting. Here it's saying, yeah, no more scattered searches. Okay, let's see if that happens. Here's some testimonials, and then here's what's maybe what people want to know. So here's what it costs per month. So it's not inexpensive, $14.95 per month, but the free free kind of test account that you can have is not bad. It allows you to upload a PDF that's as large as 120 pages. It can be up to 10 megabytes, and you're allowed to upload 3 PDFs per day for free. So that's not bad. And each day you can ask 50 questions. So that's pretty good, considering there are many different, if you will, interfaces you can use. So this is one of which you could use to query a specific PDF. And then it has other frequently asked questions. I'm not going to get into that too much, but I'm interested to show you my thoughts. But oh yeah, just to go back, yeah. So that's another reason why here it says 120 pages for a PDF. The reason that you are interested, or we as, if you will, academic researchers or scholars or researchers might be interested in PDF interfaces, is because you can't upload a large document to the free version of ChatGPT because it's limited to basically 4,000 characters, right? I think it's 4,096 characters. That's the official number. So it's about 500 words, let's say. So this exceeds that, right? So most PDFs or most academic journal articles that you would be interested in querying would be longer than 500 words, right? So that invalidates the easy use of ChatGPT for that type of research. I think in another video I've shown that you can, of course, chunk up the document and then reassemble that kind of by hand or through a series of steps, which I've shown, which I've talked about in another video. So you can try that if you want. But I think what's interesting about these PDF interfaces is it gets rid of that step, right? It completely takes away, if you will, that kind of clunkiness of doing it yourself, because the program itself on the back end behind the scene is doing that for you. It's chunking up the larger article and then reassembling it and allowing you to chat with the entire document. Okay, so what did I do? What I did was, and here's the interface that you would see if you went here and sorry, go back up. If I went to my account, if I go to chats, this shows you all of my chats over here. But here, I'll go to this one. I uploaded a number of documents already, just in testing, and so I'll just talk about briefly this document that I've used a number of times. A very well-known article by Frederick Jameson called "Postmodernism or the Cultural Logic of Late Capitalism," written in 1984. So I uploaded it like I have in other tests of different PDF interfaces. And so it says, hello, welcome to this document. This document is a collection of disjointed sentences and fragments of text that explore themes of language, politics, and the human experience. It includes quotes from various sources and musings on everything from dreams to the emergence of new collective subject in China. Right off the bat, I find this very odd because I don't think this is really a very good, if you will, summary of postmodernism or the cultural logic of late capitalism. Especially when it says it's a collection of disjointed sentences. Anyways, so I think there is something going on with the way in which Redoc is basically understanding the document that I uploaded. It's already, I can already see that it's not functioning as seamlessly as some of the other programs I've tested. So I ask, what is the main argument in this text, right? The text which is right on the right-hand side. It says, I'm sorry, but I need more information about the text you're referring to in order to answer your question. So it's pushing back. It doesn't understand this question. And it says, can you specify, what are you referring to? So I type out this, right? This is what is here, and I type that out. And it says, sorry, I still don't understand. And then I say, well, what is the argument in this article, right? The article that's on the right-hand side. And again, it says, I don't know. There's no clear context. So then I write, again, I roll again. I roll the dice again. I say, explain the argument about postmodernism. And I guess finally, it kind of groks what I'm asking. It says, the argument about postmodernism is that it should be understood as a culture dominant, blah, 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 blah. So it's finally, after a number of kind of tries, and we do get this also in ChatGPT. Sometimes it's just confused by the thread or the thrust of your argument, but it took a while to do that, to understand this. Okay, so we can forgive it. Maybe it's a bit clunky, but then I've tried it again on. I've tried it with its main, I guess, feature that I wanted to see. Right, the main feature that I wanted to see in action is, can I chat with two different documents? So I uploaded Frederick Jameson's Postmodernism or Cultural Logic of Capitalism. And then I also uploaded another article, a journal article by Mark Poster called Television Tape and Internet Dialectics. This one here. Dialectics of the Postmodern in the US from 1950 to 2000. So they're both two articles, journal articles about postmodernism, okay? And so it says, how can I assist you in the merged documents? I say, compare Jameson's postmodernism with Poster's argument about television. What are the similarities? So it does much better here. It says, both of them discuss postmodernism in relationship to technology, specifically television. And they both argue that postmodernism is characterized by fragmentation and lack of depth. Okay, so that's not bad. And then I continue to say, compare this argument, what are the similarities? And then it kind of does it. It's not bad. It begins many of the sentences with both. They do this. Poster on the other hand does that. Both Jameson and Poster see this as a break. So that's pretty good. That is very comparative. What's the similarities that exist? And then it gets confused by that. It says there's no clear indication of which two texts are being referred to. So it's impossible to answer the question. So we're getting back to, I think, some of the problems we had with the first kind of example that I showed you, where it didn't understand what I was saying. So then I rephrase that. I say, what's the similarities between Jameson article and the Poster article? And then it is able to answer it. It says they both discuss postmodernism. And then I write, please elaborate. Again, it says, I need a specific question. It doesn't like this, right? Which I think I find that very strange, because in just plain ChatGPT, it's able to understand if you say go on or elaborate. That's very easy. And in some of the other programs where I've used a phrase like please elaborate, ChatDoc, ChatPDF, Humata, Ask Your PDF, etc., these other programs, it's able to understand that. But for some reason, Redoc gets confused by some of these simple phrases. So something's going on in the back end that's a bit clunky. Oh, I should say that like ChatDoc and Humata, and also Ask Your PDF, it's citing, right? It's telling you the page where the answer from which the answer is derived, and then it's highlighting it in green, right? So it's yeah. So that's useful in that sense. It's a form, again, it's a form of citation, not really, but it certainly is directing the user to the place where the answer is derived. What similarities exist between the two articles? Again, it goes back, it's a bit repetitive. So both of these both this article, both of these overall, both articles suggest that postmodernism represents a distinct break from modernism and is characterized by a new kind of superficiality. Yes. Yeah, so that's actually, so if I were to stop there, I would say, is that useful? Yeah, it is. I think it's very, very straightforward. It's very exegetical. It's trying to explain what the two articles are doing. But I think it struggles a bit in actually comparing them in a more synthetic or more analytical way. It's good at saying the first article says this, the second article says this, but it doesn't really go that third step, which is a more, if you will, synthetic or critical juxtaposition of the two arguments, right? It's not creative in that sense, right? Can you explain the key differences? Yeah, I think that's not bad. Yeah, I'm hesitant to say that is good, because I think what it does is it says what it's doing earlier, which is saying, this is what Jameson's article is saying. And then it says, and the other article says this, but it doesn't really explain why they are different. So again, it lacks this moment of making that kind of comparative, conclusive, or if you will, comparative moment where you say, this does this, the first one does this, the second one does this, and then this is why it's interesting that they are similar or different. It never gets to that third, if you will, more synthetic phase of comparison. It just says, here are two things that are different. So I don't know if that's that useful. Right? And then I get asked, what do these two texts say about postmodernism? It says, did you mean this? So that's quite common. I found when I was using it, it would rephrase my question and say, I ask it this, and they say, oh, is this what you're asking? Right? Are you saying, what are the key similarities between Jameson and Putnam? So that's interesting. I've in all of the other programs that are reviewed, this is the first one that is kind of rephrasing my question and saying, is this what you mean? So that might be useful. And yet I also think that's a bit clunky in the sense that it's also like pushing it back in my face saying, are you sure you want to ask this question? So I'm not sure if that's such a good, if you will, interface, because it's actually making the user doubt a little bit about whether the program is understanding what you want, what you're trying to ask. It's not actually, I understand that it's trying to mirror your question, but that mirroring might be too aggressive in that sense, the tone of voice, right? Did you mean this? Which I think casts a bit of doubt in the users, from the user's perspective, but also whether or not the program is understanding what you're wanting out of it. Again, I ask, what are the key similarities? Again, it says, did you mean this? Right? And then it says, and that's funny, right? It asks this, it rephrases this whole thing, which actually I think is what I wanted to ask. And then it says, I'm sorry, I can't provide an answer. It exceeds my capabilities as a language AI model. Yeah. Again, compare and contrast, I think it says, do you mean this? So there's a bit of passage here in this interaction with Redoc where it becomes quite frustrating, right? where it's unclear whether it's it's kind of losing the thread of what I'm trying to get out of it, right? Which is I'm trying to use it as a assistant or as a tutor, right? Or as, if you will, an interlocutor. I'm trying to have a conversation with it, but it's not allowing me to have a conversation with it because it's saying constantly, kind of doubting whether I know what I'm saying. Right here, I'm saying, can you present the 5 key differences in a bulleted list? And it says, did you mean this? And then it says, I'm sorry, I can't do that. So it's very frustrating. I think I found it a bit frustrating. I think it began kind of pretty good in the sense that it was able to describe the Jameson and the poster article and point out, if you will, some of it, the key issues, and then maybe some of the similarities. But it struggled with, I think, that last step when I started to ask it to do more kind of critical thinking or actually comparing the two, which of course would be the value of it, right? What is the value of having a program that allows you to search, not just for information, but in a more synthetic search, in the sense, find these 2 themes in these 2 documents and then compare them for me. It struggles, I think, to complete that request. Okay, so I won't belabor this point. So I'll go here. Okay, so is it good at just chatting with a single PDF? Here I uploaded one of the open education resource Intro to Criminology book that my colleagues edited, where I have a chapter called Race and Racism. Again, I've used this document before in testing these programs because I've written it, and it's also available freely to anyone who wants to use it online. Okay, so I'll ask it here. I uploaded the document, and then it says the document discusses basically the social construction of race and racialization, which is correct. And then it gives some example questions. So let's just copy that one. Let's copy that, and then paste that in, and see how it does with that. The question is, how does the concept of race differ from biological reality? The concept of race is not a reflection of real human differences, rather a social construct used to, yeah, so that's correct. Right? Not bad. It's just really 2 sentences. Here, what if I just say, please elaborate and expand? Will it understand that? Yeah. Again, it comes back with this. Did you mean, can you explain in more detail how the concept of race differs from biological reality? And then it says, what does it say? I'm sorry, I can't provide. So I think this is very disheartening, because clearly sometimes it's able to answer the question, the document that you've uploaded, which is on the right, which it's citing, that it's highlighting. And then at other times, when you're just asking a very simple question, please elaborate, it's like, it can't do that. So I think that it needs, some work, some optimization, some editing, something needs to be fixed. It's kind of broken, I think, in that sense. And then here, I uploaded this other document, which is another chapter from the Intro to Criminology book about green criminology. And the reason I did that is because I want to compare the 2, all right? And I want to be able to, if you will, search the 2. And then, yeah, here I ask it to summarize the document. And then it says, what is the document about? That's a very strange response on the part of Redoc. And then I ask it again, explain the document, and it says, do you mean, can you provide an explanation? Sure, it says, then it tries to explain it. Okay, so it's able to do that somewhat, okay? So then what I did then was I did what I did with the Jameson and Mark Poster article. I merged the 2, what they call merge, right? It's allowing you to chat with 2 documents as opposed to 1 document. So how do you do that in Redoc? What you would do is you would come here to your file, and then let's say here's my file, Michael Ma here, the racism, and then I would say merge the chat, and then these little boxes show up here. So this is checked here, and then I would check this box here for the Simmons Gregory, the green criminology chapter. So I would have those two check marks in this box, and then I would click on merge. And then it's going to tell me, oh, you've already merged these already. Yeah, so I don't need to. But anyways, that's what you would do. And that's what I have. That's what I've done here. So it says, so it shows up as the green chronology document, and then also my document, the race and racism chapter, right? So this is useful because here are two chapters that appear in one single collection called Intro to Criminology. So if I were a student in this class, I might want to be able to ask a question that straddles or compares, if you will, these two chapters, because it would be a book that I'm using for one course, right? So I might want to ask it questions that an instructor, the professor, might be a question that the instructor or the professor might ask of the student. So I go, describe the contents of each document. Again, it gets confused. Did you mean what is the description of the contents of each document? It says, I'm sorry, there are multiple documents. Can you please specify? I'm saying summarize document. Again, okay, so here we go. So what can I say? I'm saying, here are two merged documents. Please summarize both of them. I'm hoping it understands that. It should understand natural language because that's the power of GPT. Again, it says it cannot. Now, of course, I had some success with the Jameson and the poster article, if you recall, which was just right here. It was able to understand that, and I had a pretty lengthy conversation, although, of course, it often did interrupt that conversation with saying, did you mean this? And then I'm sorry, I can't do it. So, yeah, I don't know. I want to like this program because I think being able to chat with two documents is so important. But I don't think that it's ready for prime time. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, so in terms of a summary of my thoughts, I think, the main thing is that Redoc is not a seamless or fluid experience, right? It's very clunky. It keeps pushing back. It keeps asking me, do you mean this? I'm sorry, I can't do that. It's doing that mainly for when I'm trying to compare two documents, but it is also from time to time doing it with just one document, which is very different than when you're using, for instance, ChatGPT, plain ChatGPT itself. You can upload a smaller document. It's very good at talking about it. And then the other programs that I've talked about, ChatDoc, ChatPDF, Humata, Ask Your PDF, so on and so forth. They're all very good, and they don't have this specific, I think, a hiccup. I mean, I think what's also useful is that it is citing, if you will, by identifying the page number and highlighting the text in green on the right-hand side. And it's telling you from where the answers are derived. So that's very useful. And it does have this kind of file system. You can start a new chat, or you can have this category. So it has a kind of a file system where you can upload a number of documents and order them. That's useful. But again, is the file system that useful if the actual use value, which is chatting with the document, is not really working? Yeah, I mean, I think that's a difficult question. If in fact you're coming here for the merge feature, it's not really working very smoothly. And I hope this is just the first version, and then maybe it can be, if you will, improved in future versions. I mean, I do have to say that what is useful, as you can see, because I had a number of tabs open and I went back to show the different chats that I had. What is useful is that Redoc is saving your chat. So that's very useful. You're not losing it once you log out. When you come back in, your chats are still there, right? So you don't have to worry that whatever chat log that you had with the program, it should still be there. So, it's very enticing, but it needs work. I do know that, ChatDoc and Humata have this feature already. I haven't tested those out, and I'll do that. I'll try and test those features out soon. So there you have it. I think it's an exciting thing to be able to chat with multiple documents, but this is not ready for prime time. Or if it is ready, and I must be doing something terribly wrong because I'm not getting the results that I want out of it, right? And it's also, if you will, creating a certain amount of frustration. Okay, so that's my thoughts on Redoc, a chat PDF type of interface with ChatGPT. Okay, thanks very much.